So I will call the work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia for Monday, April 28th, 2025 to order. We do have a quorum. All members are present. Welcome, Gretchen. We didn't think we'd have you. So first we'll review the regular meeting. We have Bobby Howard's going to give the invocation, the pledge. Anyone in particular? How about Brian?
What?
Lead us in the pledge?
Or not? Yes.
Do you remember it?
Oh, I remember.
I can write it down.
I've done it many times. In my mind.
Under ceremonial matters, we have a proclamation for the National Society of Sons of the American Revolution, the Plymouth chapter. They help a lot with our Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and Kelly McAleer asked that we offer a proclamation for them. So we'll approve the minutes for the, well, I assume we'll approve. We have the minutes for the April 14th. We have the public hearing, and before we get into any discussion on that, we have the public hearing for RZ 2503, which is the Lenore Church Road property. And then under old business, we have the RZ 2404, which is the Summit Chase, which is no longer a public hearing. It'll just be council discussion, debate, and vote. The applicant for the Lenore Church emailed this afternoon and asked if we would hear the Summit Chase item first and then do theirs after. We were kind of undecided upstairs. If y'all have a preference.
Didn't matter to me.
Whatever. It seems like we should stick with our normal order of business to me, but
I think a lot of people are looking at the agenda as posted. This is going to be a popular meeting. So just based on that, I think it would be wise to keep it as published.
Two keeps. Anyone else with an opinion?
I agree. That's the most logical thing I've heard said about it, so.
All right, so we will just stick with the order of business. Then under, and we'll come back to the rezonings. Under new business, we just have surplusing of several police items. Not cars this time, but a few things from the police department. All right, so let's go
My
to
discussion module.
the public hearing, item A, RZ 2503 on Lenore Church Road. Is there any discussion anyone wants to have here in the work session?
I'm going to recuse myself from this.
Okay.
So I have my phone, just call me.
I asked my questions in the pre-meeting, and the big thing is, when we passed the mixed residential ordinance, I was under the impression we were carrying over the same standards from our existing stuff, whether it be townhomes, whether it be R5, our regular things, and this is there's substantial variation. So I asked Jason about it, and he said, well, do you want to say what you said, Jason?
Sure. Basically, reduction in lot sizes, and these different types. And if you'll look on page 5 of your staff report, you've got basically the dimensional standards, and those are lot sizes, and those change based on each type so that you can mix and meld them as you see fit for the residential mix. So these base lot sizes, detached house, carriage home, they were all set based on that. And if you're trying to meet a middle kind of a middle price or even smaller to serve that purpose in the market, and we have to reduce lot sizes. So this is the one, this is the ordinance that was done on this mix. And if you look on the table on the left, you can see exactly what that looks like for each type of structure. And this one has detached and townhomes. So you can see the detached house lot is a 2,500 square foot lot. And then the townhome is 800 square foot per. And again, that was to give flexibility on size, because size is related to price, basically.
So in order to have affordable housing, this is, this is why this section was in here.
And it is a new ordinance too. It came out of the UDO and the result of the comp plan to provide that kind of mixture to allow developers to be a little more flexible, and this was the product.
And the driveway size and setback is the same though that we have on our typical,
Have to be 22, yeah. I mean, they still have to meet the requirements to be out of the sidewalk, yes.
okay.
That's across every residential dwelling that has a driveway in the city. We've lived that one, we've lived that right here many times.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just didn't want y'all to miss out on that riveting.
Well, I'm
It wasn't
glad
exciting?
you included us.
Pardon?
Very exciting.
Yes, and he said it almost exactly the same, so you really didn't miss out on it.
Okay, anything else on that one for the work session?
Brian, could you grab it? These things are so loud.
Okay, so next we have RC 2404, Summit Chase. If you'll remember, and I'll remind everybody once we're in the public meeting, that we have a motion on the table to approve with a second. And then a secondary motion was made to postpone, which was seconded and approved. We've been through the public hearing already. The only thing, the tabling was just tabling the vote. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. When we open this one up, I'll go through and read the heading per usual, and then essentially this is up then for comment and discussion and debate by council. So we can go through, anything, any comments you want to make or discussion.
And I take it there's been no movement between the parties, the community or the builder?
And receive no notice.
And I know there was a request for some verbiage on a condition, an additional condition. Do you have something that you could send out to us that would allow, if this were to be voted in the positive, would allow mayor and council to review a change in the plan as long as it didn't exceed the number of houses, and that gives some leeway, so hopefully if it passes, the developer and the community can come together and work out to get the property in the middle of that's excluded by covenant.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I've drafted some language just to...
You forgot who I was, didn't you?
It's 10.
He's like me. Your name's Scott. When I'm about to say the name, I go blank.
Yeah.
I could know you forever in my mind.
There's this, for everybody that knows this, there's about 11 and a half acres that are protected by covenants. There's been some ask to release those covenants so that they can build houses within that and maybe alleviate some of the pain elsewhere, so to speak. I've drafted language should the HOA release those covenants, and should the applicant come back before mayor and council, it is to basically approve a conditional plan to move some of those houses into that 11 acres if those two triggering points come about, to alleviate some of that pain. And I'm happy to send that to all of you right now, so I pulled out my laptop.
Yeah, if you
But
could.
that is the general essence of it, and it would really relieve that, the goal is to relieve that street behind, what's the?
Is that furthest street that goes behind, between Timberline and Beaver Creek. It's a long, one-sided street with really a limited number of parcels on it. And if that could be eliminated, it cut down the angst of, a good number of people, and would shift those units to that central area that wouldn't anymore impact anyone else, because houses are already being developed all around it.
Yeah, and the real issue for the city is that we'll have a 3/4 mile long stretch of road approximately that we have to maintain once it's built and repave and take care of stormwater for 8 to 10 houses. And that's
not good.
well, yeah, I mean, and it's, there's good probability it'll never matter, but if the body chooses to move ahead with the motion that's on the table, it would certainly give some flexibility to address some of the issues that have been brought up by both the community and the body.
Yeah, we should take that out.
Sure.
Yeah, some of the stuff.
I'm gonna email it to all of y'all, and then,
Okay.
Well,
who's gonna print it?
Jason.
We don't have
want
access
them
on
out?
our phone.
We want to email
On
it to you.
purpose.
Yeah.
Print the whole ordinance or just?
No, just
that.
Just
that
what
needs
we
to
done.
be
Proposed change.
Send it, I'll go get it.
Thank you.
thank you, Jason.
Anything for you
I
guys.
don't want to feel it.
Your face doesn't say that.
It's coming out of the mouth. It's not nice. It's nice. Okay. Anything else on the regular meeting?
Oh, on the surplus of city property, can we just, and it's too late now, but this just dawned on me, some of the things that we're surplusing here, stainless steel tables, stainless steel cabinet, if those could be used at the new community center, I mean, because I know they, having been in the restaurant industry and had, that stuff is virtually indestructible. And if it's been sitting in the PD for, what now, 10 years?
It's got a lot of drug contamination.
Oh, never mind, let's sell it.
Let's eat off of that.
Stainless steel.
It's been in the lab. I mean, it could be cleaned. Like,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
okay, well, are we disclosing that in the sale? Please tell me we are.
It's from the CIS division, so you don't know what's been on it.
Never mind.
They're not putting that
Questions?
in camp.
Questions I don't have.
Crime scene of that.
Maybe you should quit while you're in bed.
I should have quit a long time ago.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, so the work session, any correspondence? I did want to make you all aware, my primary care doctor is Dr. Benjamin Abraham, whose practice is down on 124 in Snellville. I've known him for probably 30 years or so. He has always undertaken, I think, 2 medical mission trips every year to like Indonesia or China or places. And he started, years ago, started his own foundation, the 127 Legacy Foundation. And so through that foundation, he raises money for his medical mission trips, but also he is supporting 2 orphanages in Indonesia with that. He's doing a fundraising dinner May the 3rd, Saturday night. It's at Mount Zion Church. If anyone's interested, let me know. I can get you tickets. Tickets are $35. And of course, silent auction and all that other stuff too. But Greg and I and my mom will be able to go, so I just wanted to make you all aware. Anyone else in the room, if anyone's interested in helping to support that ministry, all the money does go to support what they're doing. Any other correspondence? City Attorney's report? Update of ongoing projects.
Thank you, Mayor Bridger. So just city project update, we'll run through this. So Town Center, Cricket Can is nearing the work that we've given them tenant improvement allowance for. So that is kind of building out the shell of their kind of tenants that they'll have. I've heard that they've got 6 leases signed. Their brewing equipment, some cabinetry work, the polished concrete, all of that good stuff. They're waiting to put their gas meter in and some other minor things. And then our work with them will be done. And then what will happen is Cricket Can will manage the individual build out of those stalls, there. And they'll start, I don't really know anything about beer or breweries, but they're starting to I guess, get a batch ready. For their
Sample.
Yeah, for their sale, for their opening in late June, early July is kind of what they're targeting. So they're moving along well. Parkside, Grove Taqueria, Dumpling Master, and Pliables are all under construction. Pliables. Did I not spell it right?
No, you did. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, Pliables there. So they'll be on
stuff on the beer thing.
Yeah. So they'll be in that one location, the building we call M2, which is the commercial residential on the corner there. You recall that was kind of the spot that we originally were hoping we could get some sort of coffee shop there because it has a little bit of area for seating outside and that sort of thing. Small, a couple people, table and chair kind of thing. But they were never able to really find something who could fit that space. And then Dumpling Masters is on the corner right next to the nail bar, the corner of Cloud Street roundabout there. They're all on track for this summer, varying dates in the summer, opening. So we will continue to kind of monitor that, but just for us to be thinking about, maybe a grand opening of the Grove sometime like August or September. We'll certainly promote these individual, like we normally would, individual business opening, but to kind of bring together everyone for one big grand opening. We'll kind of target August and September. We'll keep you all posted on how that's working.
You've done a very good job of bringing all of my favorites to a half mile from my house.
Okay. I had literally
I
nothing to do
for one
with it,
appreciate
but
that.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Doing the library.
Well, I mean, yeah.
One of mine.
So we had somebody else knock down the other headache bar on the wisteria entrance of the parking deck. So we are
Give them a headache.
Don't get a headache when they get billed from us. We know who they are. Wonderful flock cameras can tell us who they are. But we will. I'm just going to flash this to you. We're working with a company to put something like this in, where it's about a 2-foot down base, where we will attach kind of an exterior pole. We won't be hanging them anymore. That clearly they're not able to fasten them to the actual steel, so they're a little more likely to, I guess, be pulled down and fall down. And so we'll try to anchor them. It's about a 2-foot hole in diameter, but about 4 feet deep. And then it's got kind of a cage mechanism that you attach these poles to, and it'll sit on the outside of the actual structure that will be mounted to the parking deck. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't really know what else to do. So we're going to try this.
So
mounting to the building is just not a good idea.
So the bar itself is
able to move, say, hit the bar, but not, hopefully it flexes so it doesn't knock it down.
That's the hope.
Okay.
That's the hope. And then we're in talks with the Tomlin and about, one of the issues that we're facing on the entrance from what we call Sawyer, which is, past the library there. That entrance is, they get a lot of deliveries, Amazon, those sort of things. So there's a couple of parking spots that are adjacent to the Tomlin property that can just fit 2 cars, just 2 spots. And what we're thinking we're gonna do is black out the white line and make that kind of a delivery spot. There, kind of stripe it yellow, maybe write delivery zone. So the post office and an Amazon delivery truck can park there. The challenge with not doing something like that is once you put this headache bar up, then the Amazon truck is going to be blocking the people exiting the parking deck because they're going to park right at the Tomlin entrance right there. You need them to get out of that way because then you have to go around that island and you're going to get the opposite of traffic. I mean, it's very limited on what you can do to get those delivery trucks out of the way. And this was kind of our what we thought was the better solution, was to kind of give them a delivery spot that they can make sense.
Just the verbiage has to be clear that it's not, just run, drop off your boat and come back.
Yes, yeah. We'll work with the PD on it and make sure it's something that we can, enforce. Should we get someone there that is blocking delivery zone and someone needs to get access to a delivery or the post office or something to what happens a lot of times is every day the post office will block a section of the exit of the parking deck because it's just right just to the top. They can hop out, but they're there for hours, I've been told, loading and unloading. So just as a safety thing. You need to get them out of there and put them in a spot where they're not going to be blocking people's entrance.
Couldn't we do the same thing with the first parking space as you come through the entrance to the left?
For the post office you could, but the Amazon truck is not going to be able to fit under.
Right, and the post office is what I was thinking about, because I know I was told that the postal person is there for 2 hours.
Yeah,
There's a good possibility that you'll have the Amazon truck and the postal. So if we designate that space for the post office, then hopefully it'll clear up some issues.
Yeah.
And if one parking space, we own 750 of them, we take one.
And then we've talked with the PD. We've gotten kind of reports of folks on Sawyer exiting pretty quickly out of there. So we'll put up some of our speed detection to kind of see how fast folks are going there. And then we can kind of talk about if we want to do speed humps or tables or something like that to slow folks down. Some of these decisions are hard to make because we haven't ever seen a site fully activated, there. But we certainly don't want to feel like, if there is issues with that we're unresponsive to that. Certainly, if there are folks zooming in and out of there, we don't want that. Certainly. But I'd like to get some data so we kind of know how fast folks really are going. Because sometimes even 25 hours seems fast if you're walking. There. So that's kind of the latest around the Grove. The thing I'd like to do is we have our new downtown development director here. I'd like to give her an opportunity to introduce herself. And you want me to Mr. Jan Harris.
Who's the mystery person?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I've had a good first day. I will be back tomorrow. I don't know how much detail. I am a native Georgian. I'm returning back for 5 years, working in Texas. I missed my family who live in Avondale Estates, and I missed seasons and green, and I'm just loving it. I don't even mind the pollen, which tells you how homesick I've been. But I'm really excited. I've got lots of experience in downtown development and in Main Street, and I'm looking forward to getting to work here and getting to know you all and working with the Grove and Town Center, and then starting to really see what the DDA can do.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It dawned on me like halfway through.
I said to Ty, who is that
And,
lady
and,
over there?
and then it struck me and I was like, well, I can't really yell it out.
But Jen's been in the downtown, economic development business 25 years, from Valdosta, Commerce, Dahlonega, Taylor, Texas.
Acworth,
so
North
she's
Carolina.
come to quite-
The whole state?
No, just Kings Mountain, and that was enough.
Yeah. So we're thrilled to have her, and we think she's gonna add a lot of value to what we're trying to do down there, so this is gonna be a great fit for us, so we're glad she's here, and she came to this meeting willingly, so she's
Oh, willingly?
happy to be here.
Oh, I'm a government junkie. I'll be one of your groupies.
Moving along, so sidewalk improvement, so the contractor on Skyline and Pinehurst project has addressed everything, we're just waiting for them to give us the final payout. The project engineer will review to make sure everything is accurate there, and we'll pay out that final payout, and then we'll just be in kind of the warranty period, making sure that things are functioning as they should, so, which is good.
Get paid by the word.
Under just city business, beautification, so just registration for recycling programs open a little bit longer, there, so please go on the website.
I talked to my neighbor, which I do periodically, but within the last week, and she said, what do you mean you have to sign up for a recycling unit? So evidently not, or maybe her husband did and she didn't, so just don't be, if our numbers look like we're not having people renewing, we may want to send out a second notice
It
to,
was also in the magazine.
I know, trust me, I
Right.
know our information has multiple ways of getting there, but it doesn't.
I know.
So I just don't want to go out and pull recycling bins, and then dealing with the blowback from that.
Yeah, and David has said they've gotten that question several times from folks that have called in, and they're trying to address it. Brian's been.
I did
stuff
give
out
her
as
the
well.
number.
Yeah.
I still gotta do it, my quiz card sitting on my. It's like every morning I say, oh yeah, I need to do that
Yep,
today.
and they'll be buying, they'll pick up your bin, and then we're all gonna have to worry about
And
it.
I just got a new one, because our last one just shattered to pieces.
Or if you don't sign up, I'm gonna give you the first one.
Couldn't get it first.
Nothing on zoning guidelines. I mean, we kind of talked about just looking at, maybe I don't remember the zoning designation title, but for this Lenore Church, if there's something you want to look at there.
RX.
Thank you, RX. Package sales implementation, Jay, I'm assuming that one's still waiting on the judge's court of appeals. Yeah, court of appeals there. All right, so Briscoe Park, the construction. Yeah, looking at this, I'm just kind of assuming you all know the construction, by that I mean the rec center. I didn't put regular construction, but construction will begin on May 5th in the community center there. The groundbreaking is scheduled for May 1st, which is this Thursday at 4:30 at the project site. If you're able to be happy to have you. We'll have folks from the county there. We'll receive some CDBG funding, so we'll have some county folks there. Our Parks and Recreation Board, some folks will be there from them, whoever from the public would like to.
Did we invite our state reps and senators?
We did.
Okay.
We did. Whether or not they come.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure they're,
We got everybody on the list, everyone from
I know
the county
there's a longer
leadership,
list.
county leadership down to everybody, yeah, the whole gamut. And then just north of Wisteria, so that intersection improvement project began March 31st. They're working on, you may have seen the county out there recently, they're working on relocating some utilities. As you kind of why they're already going to move some of that stuff out of the way. So the county, coordinating with the county on getting some of their utilities out of the way, and some of the private, your AT&Ts and your Comcast and those folks, to get
So
that
we got
stuff.
another 18 months on that one?
No, we don't. It's not funny part.
I didn't mean it to be funny.
Not funny.
All you laughed. It's not.
I wasn't trying to say.
We laughed because we knew how true it was.
No, we're working on getting that
Nice, sounds
done.
like you're having a rough week.
It's Monday.
Yeah. Okay. And then we just, we Banfield, the final right of way we need to get. We're not touching their property. We were, this close, and then the county threw a curveball at us with an encroachment agreement that was all kind of language that was disagreeable. So now we're working through all that, but we got a path forward, so I think we're going to be okay. But it's certainly not something that we had anticipated. And basically the signature was ready to go, and then we kind of have this curveball in those hours. But we're going to work through it and get it done. So you'll kind of see that sewer work will be going on. Ideally, it was to be done prior to this road work, but we felt like we had all the easements, most of them signed, and there was really no point in waiting, for this last one. There's a lot of work that could have been done, and we want to get this thing done as soon as we can. So it's a tight project. It's a year, so it's fast, for a road project like this, which is good. And you will always keep the road open. That is the goal. Now, we might do a detour as a congestion, a traffic congestion relief, mechanism so that there aren't so many people waiting, but the goal is to always have that open for folks. Now, there might be, some minor, closures for equipment to get across the street or things like that, but we're not expecting or planning on any, weeks long, days long closure of the road. So, that's my.
Alright, and next we have discussion about stormwater detention ponds. Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, always to bring up the most exciting things. It came to my attention that on this most recent zoning that's going to come before us tonight, that there's a stormwater detention pond proposed right along one of our major thoroughfares, and that gives me a lot of grief. Wherever they are, they're never maintained as park-like as we would care for them to be. They are, they can be a hazard, and I would like to look at doing something in our code to, although not necessarily say they can't be there, because I understand you can't, well, it's hard to make water flow uphill, and sometimes there's rock and other things, but we definitely need to dissuade going forward having detention ponds be the focal point as people drive by any development, whether it's
Especially on Lenore Church weekends.
residential, whether it's commercial. It's just not, it doesn't put our best foot forward. And so whatever we need to do to put that in our code, I'd like to get moving on that. On that same vein, once I brought that up, it was brought to my attention that our new communities, yes.
Can I stop you right there?
You can.
Just a second. Is there a consensus to move forward with changing the UDO for that? I mean, that's
Yes.
something we should all
Can we-
be able to discuss.
Can we study it first? Look at some sister organizations, see how they regulate that, and then to what extent, and then bring something back first before we go about changing it, or if you want to just, have another work session, talk it out, let me do a little work.
Yeah, and that's fine. I would think that would be the way we do it either way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're gonna say, hey, get it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we had a consensus,
Right.
'cause forgive me, but you were the only one speaking on that one. So
Oh, see, I forget.
there are a few other people in the room that have some,
Okay,
on whether we're gonna do some more concept or not.
okay.
We don't mind interrupting, Tom.
Yeah, clearly. And then when I brought that up, it was brought to my attention that on our community center, the development has a detention pond that is slated to be between Marigold and the unnamed or whatever it is street that is wooded currently. I like to call it our arboretum because it's our collection of trees.
Fancy word for that
Yeah.
plot of land.
And
To say that I was taken aback would be an understatement about that being the case, because I do not recall, and I know engineering hadn't progressed at the point that we approved the project, but I would like to see us do everything we can to not take any more of our valuable parkland away to turn into detention ponds. There is a detention pond currently below the 2 softball fields. It's actually one big pond and then a smaller pond next to it. I think you can enlarge the capacity of those, and it'd actually be a shorter run to get the water from the community center to there than it would be to pipe it all the way over, but I could be wrong. But I just don't want to lose